Spider-Man, Brand New Day is already being called a masterpiece, at least by everyone who's already seen it. And today we're breaking down that secret screening, what the director said about it, the new behind-the-scenes footage that just dropped, and I have a personal frustration I need to get off my chest about all of this. Let's get into it. Welcome to Avengers Protocol, the channel that covers the Marvel Universe without filters and without holding back. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. We post content every single day, and you genuinely cannot afford to miss what's coming. Now, let's start with that test screening. According to journalist John Campbell, the film has already been shown to a select audience in a typical test screening format. At that stage, the visual effects aren't necessarily finished, and some scenes may still be missing. But now, a lot of people hear reshoots and immediately assume the movie is in trouble. That's not how it works. Big-budget productions do this kind of thing routinely, regardless of how well things are going. Sometimes it's to expand on an aspect of the story they found compelling. Sometimes it's to add a little more dialogue here or a small detail there. According to Tom Holland himself, these reshoots are specifically to add more humor and to develop one particular villain's story a bit further. The director added, and this is a direct quote, "I can't tell you what happens, but I'm very, very excited about this film. I'm very excited about the small test screening we did and how it's connecting with audiences." He went on, "It's a big blockbuster, it's super fun. It has all the heart, the emotion, and the humor you expect from a Spider-Man movie. But at its core, it's a film about learning to reconnect with people. And that theme makes complete sense when you think about where we left Peter Parker. What happened at the end of No Way Home was genuinely traumatic. He made the entire world forget who he was. Naturally, he isolated himself after that. And you can already see it in the trailer, a Peter with no friends, no family, no support system whatsoever. It's no surprise that he apparently loses his grip on reality, and even on his own powers. From everything in the trailer and from the rumors circulating, the director also confirmed some other key details. Peter is no longer in school. He's dealing with adult problems now, both personally and professionally. And for the very first time, he's navigating all of it completely alone. This is clearly going to be the film that finally silences or at least tries to silence the criticism that Tom Holland's original Spider-Man trilogy leaned too heavily on other heroes and mentors. That Peter never stood fully on his own 2 feet. That era is over. Now, it is worth noting that Bruce Banner is confirmed to appear in the film. But based on everything we know here at Avengers Protocol, it's not going to be in any kind of mentor role. Far from it. There's a very real chance Spider-Man is going to have to go up against the Hulk directly. And speaking of Hulk toy merchandise for the film has been out for a while now. I actually saw these Spider-Man and Hulk toys in person while I was in Mexico at CCXP Mexico. I was there to interview Jon Favreau, the man behind Happy Hogan, the guy who directed the original Iron Man films. An absolute legend. And we didn't just talk Star Wars, Marvel came up too. But that's a story for another time. Back to the point. More and more merchandise keeps coming out confirming that Bruce Banner is transforming into the Hulk in this film. However, and here's where the frustration comes in every single piece of merchandise, the Hulk is green. Which means all that excitement about the possibility of a gray Hulk appearing in theaters is fading fast. And look, that's a real missed opportunity. In the comics there are multiple iterations of the Grey Hulk, including Joe Fixit, essentially a gangster version of the Hulk. That would have been something completely fresh on screen. But apparently Marvel isn't going down that road. At least not yet. What's confusing is why they wouldn't. The business case alone is obvious. Change the color, and suddenly you have an entirely new line of Hulk toys to sell. Grey Hulk figures, different merchandise, more licensing revenue. A big chunk of Marvel's income comes from licensed products, so commercially it's a no-brainer. Could there be a creative reason? Possibly. In the comics, Spider-Man has had plenty of confrontations with the Green Hulk specifically, and the visual contrast of those two characters together on screen might be exactly what the director wanted. Or, and this is the more interesting possibility, Marvel is simply saving the Grey Hulk for a different story. They've done it before. The Russo brothers mentioned that during Endgame, their original idea was to turn the Hulk red when he snapped with the Infinity Gauntlet. They held back on that deliberately, and saved the Red Hulk for the Captain America film. Similarly, back in Age of Ultron, when Hulk lost control, that moment in theory should have turned him gray. But if you look at the footage, he still looks pretty green. Just a grayish tint. They held back then too. So if they're keeping the Grey Hulk in their back pocket for something bigger, honestly, I'm okay with that. Imagine a story where, that said, there's also a real possibility the toys are just wrong. Merchandise released before a film's premiere is almost always based on concept art, not on the finished product. Studios don't hand licensors the actual movie, they give them early design materials. And those materials don't always include things the studio wants kept secret. The most obvious example, before No Way Home came out, there was absolutely nothing, no toys, no costumes, no water bottles, featuring the other versions of Spider-Man. Because Sony and Marvel wanted to protect that surprise. Hasbro, Funko, all of those companies work only with what the studio sends them. And what the studio sends them isn't always what ends up in the final film. There's also a new Spider-Man toy that showed up featuring him shooting an anti-gamma web. Now, could that appear in the movie? Sure, technically. But honestly, that feels way more like one of those weird kid-targeted toy add-ons. Like all those Batman toys with oversized fists or random armor plating. The kind of thing that has more to do with selling to 6-year-olds than with anything actually in the film. Subscribe to Avengers Protocol right now if you haven't already. This channel is your home base for Marvel analysis that actually holds up. Leaks, theories, behind-the-scenes breakdowns, all of it. Hit that like button too. It makes a massive difference in getting this content in front of more people who love this universe as much as we do. Every single like helps us keep producing at this level. Don't sleep on it. Now, Sony also dropped a short behind-the-scenes look at the film. And while it's mostly the director Destin Daniel Cretton and Tom Holland talking about the filming experience, there are glimpses of actual footage and they're worth noting. First, we get a brief look at Scorpion facing off against Spider-Man in the street. And second, we see a Spider-Man fight sequence set in the snow. Snow. Spider-Man in the snow. That's a visual we're genuinely not used to seeing, and it already looks like something different. On top of that, there was also an exclusive teaser shown for ScreenX. If you're not familiar, it's a format used in the US where the screen wraps around and curves on the sides. Sounds like an incredible way to watch something. And in that footage, we get something brand new. A character who is the leader of the Hand, the clan of Red Ninjas. And it's been revealed that this character is Mariko Yashida. Now, for those who follow the channel and remember the heavy rumors pointing to Mr. Negative appearing in this new Spider-Man film, here's the explanation for where those rumors came from. A costume designer apparently accidentally leaked part of their research for a villain's costume. That costume had strong samurai and Japanese-inspired elements. People connected those visual cues to Mr. Negative, who is a Chinese villain in the comics, specifically Martin Li, a character who has the power to corrupt people with negative energy. He became extremely popular recently because of the PlayStation Spider-Man games, where he's the main villain in the first game and makes a return appearance in the second. But now we know what that leaked costume research was actually pointing to, Mariko Yashida. Look at the details on her design. The Japanese cultural influences are clearly there in the costume. And this also lines up with earlier rumors that this Spider-Man film would feature a significant female villain. Mariko fits that description perfectly. This also tells us something important about the Hand's role in the story. They're not just going to be a faceless army of goons following orders for hire. They have a mission, a purpose, at least until Spider-Man gets in the way. And there's an interesting angle here involving Daredevil. Matt Murdock ended Season 2 of Daredevil, Born Again, going to prison. And the Hand is one of Daredevil's most iconic enemies in the comics. It's not hard to imagine a scenario where the Hand breaks into that prison to get Daredevil, and Spider-Man ends up caught in the middle of it. Now, going back to Mariko as a character, in the comics, she's the Japanese woman Logan falls in love with during his time in Japan. It's almost a Romeo and Juliet situation. Their love is forbidden by her family. They get entangled with the Yakuza. Wolverine has to cut through a lot of people to protect her, and ultimately Mariko is poisoned and Logan Mercy kills her to end her suffering. It's one of the most tragic storylines in Wolverine's history, which obviously has nothing to do with Spider-Man or the Hand. So what is she doing in this movie? But here's what makes this genuinely interesting. In the comics, Mariko exists almost entirely within Logan's world. She's a supporting character tied specifically to Wolverine. So there's a real, if small, chance that her appearance in this film is quietly setting something up for the future. Either for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine inside the MCU, or for whoever eventually picks up that role next. Because that transition is coming eventually, one way or another. The secret phrase for this video is, "I want a new trailer. Where is the next Spider-Man trailer?" Drop that in the comments so I know you watched all the way to the end. And if you haven't subscribed to Avengers Protocol yet, do it right now. Seriously, we post every single day and this community keeps growing because of people exactly like you who show up, hit the like button, and stick around.